confronted because I didn't do anything to you. I'm just telling you based on the story that you're bringing up for the second time. I didn't bring it up again the following week. You did, which I understand, and I was trying to have sympathy to that. Dino, I wasn't trying to say anything against you or your wife. I wasn't trying to say anything against you guys. I was just trying to be a grounded person just to kind of open it up.
That was your intention.
But for you to kind of like kick me out of it when you brought me into the conversation was that was rude, and I didn't like that.
Okay. So, and then you said people contacted you or whatever?
Yeah.
What was that about?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
A listener wrote into me pretty much saying that she didn't like what you said either.
Oh, okay, well.
Why is Dino talking to you like that?
And I had a listener write into me and ask me, why did you shut down all of a sudden and didn't say anything the rest of the show over that? So, and they thought that was like uncalled for. So,
well, I didn't want to make a scene. I didn't want to argue the rest of the show. And if my opinion didn't matter, then why say anything? Right.
Well, if that's the case, then why'd you come back?
Well, because I'm not holding a grudge. But I wanted to let you know that I didn't like it.
Well, I'm not going to say it won't happen again because it might. So, I mean, there are opinions out there that sometimes I just don't care about, whoever they may be. And I don't think it's wrong for me to say that. I just don't. And I don't understand why it's so devastating for me to not care about somebody's opinion. If you don't care
about somebody's opinion, or if you don't care about my opinion, then if you don't care about my opinion on something that we're talking about on this show, then don't put it up there, period.
Well, I don't know that I'm not going to care about it until after I hear it.
If it's sensitive for you, if it's sensitive for you.
Yeah, maybe not.
Okay.
I didn't realize that, but I feel like this is my platform, and I'm gonna talk about whatever I want to.
Okay, I feel like you have me here so that we can talk and give our opinions. So
yeah, and sometimes I might not like that opinion.
Okay, if you don't like it, but you don't have to tell me that my opinion doesn't matter.
Well, again,
if you don't like it,
don't know if I said that, but even if I did, I don't understand why that's.
I'm telling you why.
I don't hear. I don't understand. Don't hear why. I don't understand why. So,
because it's rude.
It's rude.
It's rude. It's rude to me, and I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel like I'm a part of this show when you do that. If my opinion doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, do all my opinions matter to you?
Just about. I care about what you have to say.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. I care.
Okay.
Just like when you come to me or when you say like, oh, Didi, you don't agree with me or whatever, we can always agree to disagree. That's never been a problem. But I've never just shut you down.
Well, this is a good segue. In an online survey, well, actually, we haven't even, you know what? Let's go ahead and get into these topics.
News and noteworthy. The Shiznit.
Okay, an online survey lists the 50 rudest cities in U.S.
Uh-oh.
Now, the rankings were based on 2 online polls conducted in October and November of 2019. American adults were asked to choose the 5 rudest cities from a list of America's 50 largest metro areas. According to Business Insider, the rudest city in America is New York, and it was rated rude by 34.3% of respondents, which was also twice as much as the next rudest city on the list, which brings us to Los Angeles. The survey said 19.7% of respondents thought L.A. had the rudest inhabitants. Well, first of all, this is one of those. It's kind of BS. It's not scientific. It's not accurate. Simply because they chose 50 cities. They chose 50 cities, and they chose 50 big cities. Since when is big being, that's not a criteria for being rude. In their opinion, they think a big city is more likely to be rude or not. That's not necessarily true. So it's biased from the get-go. and they listed the 5 largest cities, and you had to pick from, the 50, I'm sorry, 50, keep saying 5, the 50 largest cities, and they had you pick whoever the, people who responded to the survey picked what they thought were the top 5.
That's what they thought.
Right. So I don't even, we don't even know if these people had actually been there. I think a lot of this stuff is like hearsay and reputation, because I was in New York not that long ago, and I didn't find New York particularly. I was in New York and D.C. D.C. actually was, those are 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
New York, us, and then I think D.C. is number 3 and Chicago is number 4, something like that. Chicago's the only one I haven't been to. I've been to, obviously I live here. And D.C. I've been to, and New York I've been to a couple years ago. And I didn't find either city particularly, ruder than here, or, any other city I've been to in America that I can recall.
Well, I haven't been to New York, Chicago, or Washington, D.C. But if I were to take this particular survey, I probably would have picked New York as the rudest city just by reputation.
Right. Exactly.
So that's just,
yeah.
That's just like inaccurate.
Yeah. I don't know. It might have been one of those just for fun type of things. Sometimes these journalists, they have to write something. You know what I mean? And so they do these things, and I don't know. I think just to create articles.
So out of the places that you've been, which one would you say is the rudest city?
Well, like I said, I haven't noticed any city being more or less rude than any other city. But what I have noticed along these lines is something a little different, because I have traveled outside the country a few times. Mm-hmm. And I have noticed that whenever I travel outside the country, I can always spot the Americans. And the reason why I can spot them is because they're ruder than everyone else. So I go to Jamaica, I go to Mexico, I go to Canada, wherever I go, these places, they all have people who look like us, so I can't just pick them out. It's not like I went to China or something, right. They all have people who look like us, so I can't do it by looking. But
right.
One of the things I noticed, Didi, when I'm abroad and I make eye contact and say, the people who are not from the U.S., they make eye contact and they reciprocate a smile or a hello or a nod or something like that. Mm-hmm. You know what the Americans do? They look away.
What?
Yeah, you make contact with them or whatever, and you do a hello or they look away. Yeah. Or they'll respond very they don't want to. You know how people will say hi to you because you said hi, but they're hello. Like you're pulling teeth.
Yeah. Like good morning. Yeah. Whatever.
Right.
Like one of those. Yeah. Wow.
Right.
Okay.
But whereas the people that are non-Americans they're much more friendly.
We're just warmer.
Yeah. And they have I've talked about this on the show many times, but I think it bears repeating. Now, Canada, it has a reputation kind of like the opposite of New York, of being super friendly. Mm-hmm. And it is, by U.S. standards, they are super friendly.
Wow.
I mean, it's amazing. Mm. We feel so. We were in Toronto, which is a big city, and to bring up what we were talking about, the
50 largest
the 50
metro?
largest, right. So Toronto is a big city. It looks like a kind of it looks like a newer, cleaner, smaller New York is what Toronto reminded me of.
Okay.
And
I can get with
we
that.
were there. It was not a holiday. It was not a weekend. Mm-hmm. We were there in the middle of a work week.
Okay.
While people are and we weren't in a particularly touristy section. We were just in downtown Toronto. Okay. And the people were hustling, bustling, and
going about their regular.
Going about, their work. People would stop on their way to work or wherever they were doing and ask us, are you lost, or do you need help, or are you looking? Can I help you find something?
Wow!
Over and over again, not just one person. People would overhear your conversation and could tell that we were tourists, and they would offer to help and give suggestions. Like if we were trying to decide where we would eat, they would interject. They would say, "Oh, excuse me, I couldn't help but over here," and they would offer.
Wow!
Yeah, It was amazing. It was amazing.
That's like that's some stuff that you only hear about.
It's true.
That's some stuff that you only hear about.
There was no graffiti. No graffiti. No litter. There was no litter. Well, big city. No litter.
What?
No.
That just blew my mind because we have like famous graffiti artists here in LA. So to just imagine like a place where there's none, wow.
No. They are so friendly. We were shopping, and the sales lady was they have in Canada they have a large Jamaican population. So the sales girl was Jamaican. Yeah, the best food I've had outside of Jamaica was in Toronto.
What?
It was
I had no idea of that.
Oh yeah, they got a lot of Jamaicans there.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm buying the sales lady is Jamaican, right? So I'm trying on stuff, whatever, and her and my wife were chatting it up, and they're getting real chummy and this and that, and she asked. I think she asked where we were staying, and we said we were staying in Niagara Falls, and we just came into the city, to sightsee and shop and different things. And she was like, "Oh, you're staying at a hotel? You don't have friends or anything that you're staying with?" Like, no, yeah, we're staying in a hotel. We don't know anyone here. Mm-hmm. She was like, "Oh, that's so expensive. Why don't you guys just come stay with us?"
What?
I peeped out of the dressing room. I was like, what? like, did I hear it right? Like, I was like, what? She's like, honey, she said we could stay. Can you believe her? I was like, oh, sweetheart, you can't do that.
Oh, wow.
You can't invite strangers to come stay with you.
What?
I said, they will chop you up and eat you.
Into little millions and millions of pieces and take you right to Florida.
You can't do that. You can't. They will kill your whole family.
Oh, my God. And take y'all right to Florida.
And she was like, oh, you can come stay with me, my husband and my kids. And, you can save all that money for your trip to sightsee and buy souvenirs and clothes and things instead of wasting that on a hotel. You can come. I was like, oh my God, that is so nice
and dangerous.
It is, yes. Dangerous for us and for you.
Yeah, right. She could have chopped y'all up into a million pieces.
She could have made curry goat out of us.
I'm done. The curry goat.
Dino. Curry goat Dino.
Dino.
I'm not going to be nobody's curry goat.
Talk about some of the red meat. Talking about the red meat. Dang.
And I was like, and how you know? She's like, oh, he don't mind. She got on the phone. She called her husband. He was like, yeah, tell him to come on.
What?
Yes. I'm telling you,
that's unheard of.
That's how friendly that place was. And it was like that. We were there for like 2 weeks, I think.
Okay.
And it was like that the whole time. Everywhere we went, people just like, overhearing our just giving unsolicited help and advice and just little stuff. Just, oh, well, if you go down here to the left, there's these guys. What do you know what you're in the mood for? What type of food? Like, not even, like
they gonna work it out with you.
Right. Not just, oh, well, there's restaurant roll over here.
Yeah.
But like, no, do you know? Because if you know exactly what you want, then I can really help you. Right.
Wow. I'm done. I am done. And people always say that Canadians don't like Americans. That they don't like Americans. That they think that Americans are rude or whatever. And just to hear this, I'm just like, you can't believe what you hear no more.
Well, I mean, some of that is probably true, but it's not like they just see you, assume you're an American, and then they're just gonna like hate you or whatever.
Right.
I think because we come over there and we are the way that we are, not friendly, and
shifty eyed and grimacing
and suspicious of people. Like the girl was, being nice and friendly, and we're like, she might chop us up. You know what I'm saying?
There we go.
And I think that's what they don't like.
Yeah.
They don't kind of get it how life is over here, and they just, we come over there with our ways or whatever, and it's kind of a put off to them.
Yeah.
So, but I think if you, I don't think it's like a prejudice that's run so deep that they're just going to treat you unkindly just because they suspect you might be American. They'll wait for you to do something, and then maybe they'll, you know what I mean?
Like those
but they'll give you the benefit. Yeah, they'll give you the benefit of the doubt. They was, because I don't think they necessarily knew we were Americans. They could just tell that we were tourists, right? Until after they spoke to us, then they probably could tell. But You know, they didn't all